Guys, hello guys, welcome. Hello guys, welcome to Asutosh coaching center. Now today we are to going the starting chapter. Name is chemical coordination and integration. आज हम जानेंगे इंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड क्या होता है एंड हार्मोन. देखो इंडोक्राइन होता क्या है. Endocrine glands lack duct and are hence called ductless. Okay, and their secretion are called hormones. The classical definition of hormones as a chemical produced by the endocrine and the glands and released into the blood transported to a distantly located target organ has current scientific definition as follow. Hormones are non-nutrients chemical which act as intercellular messenger and are produced in the trace amount. The new definition covers a number of new molecules in addition to the hormones secreted by the organized endocrine gland. Invertebrate possesses a very simple endocrine system with a few hormone whereas a large number of chemical act as a hormones and provide the coordination in the vertebrate and the human's endocrine system is described in the next session. Human endocrine system होता क्या है देखो. तो endocrine glands and the hormones producing diffuse tissue cells located in the different parts of our body and the constitute the endocrine system. Pituitary and the pineal and the thyroid, adrenal, pancreas, parathyroid, and thymus and gonads, testes in male, ovary in females are organized endocrine bodies in our body. In addition to these, some other organs, examples gastrointestinal tract, liver, kidney, and heart also produce hormones. A brief account of the structural and the function of all major endocrine gland and hypothalamus of the body is given in the following section. Hypothalamus क्या होता है? Hypothalamus is the basal part of dense phelon and the forebrain, and it regulates wide spectrum of the body's function. It contains several group of neurosecretory cell called nuclei which produces the hormones. These hormones regulate the synthesis and the secretion of pituitary hormones. However, the hormones produced by the hypothalamus are of two types: the releasing hormones, which stimulate secretion of pituitary hormones, and inhibiting hormones, which inhibit secretion of pituitary hormones. For example, hypothalamus hormones called go- gonadotropin releasing hormone GnRH stimulate the pituitary synthesis and the release of gonadotropin, whereas the somatostatin from the hypothalamus inhibits the release of growth and the hormones from the pituitary, and these hormones originating in the hypothalamus neurons pass through the axon and the release from their nerves ending, and these hormones reach pituitary glands and through the portal circular system and regulate the function of anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary is under the direct neural regulation of the hypothalamus as shown in figure. Pituitary gland क्या होता है देखो. Pituitary gland is located in the bony cavity is called sella turcica, and it attaches to the hypothalamus and by the stalk as shown in figure. It is divided into automatically into a adenohypothesis and hypophysis. Okay, hypophysis and adenophysis and consist of two portion pair parts detail and the parts intermedia. Parts details region of pituitary and the commonly called anterior pituitary and the producer growth hormones GH and the prolactin PRL and the hybrid stimulating and hormones TSH. Adrenocorticotropic hormones ACTH, इसको बोलते हैं हम लोग ल्यूटिजिंग हार्मोन LH, and the follicle stimulating hormones FSH. Pars intermedia secrete only the hormones called the melanocyte and the stimulating hormones MSH. However, in humans, the pars intermedia is almost the merge with the pars detail. Neurophyphosis and बोलते हैं न्यूरोपोफाइफोसिस एंड पार्स नर्वोसा, also known as the posterior pituitary store, and release two hormones called the oxytocin and vasopressin, which are actually synthesized by the hypothalamus and the transported actionally and the neurohypophysis. Oversecretion of GH stimulate abnormal growth of the body and the leading gigantism and low secretion of GH and result in the stunted growth resulting in the pituitary dwarfism. Prolactin Prolactin regulate the growth of mammary gland and the formation of milk them. FTSH stimulate the synthesis and the secretion of thyroid hormones from the thyroid gland. ACTH stimulate the synthesis and the secretion of steroid hormones called the glucocorticoid corticoid and from the adrenal cortex. LH and FSH stimulate the gonadal activity and hence called gonadotrophins in males. LH stimulate the synthesis and the secretion of hormones called adrenogenes androgens from the testes. ओके, इन मेल देखा जाए तो FSH and the adrenogens regulate the spermatogenesis, and in female induces the ovulation of fully mature follicle Graafian follicles and the maintains the corpus luteum formed the from the remnant of the Graafian follicle after ovulation. FSH stimulates the growth and the development of the ovarian follicles in the females. MSH act on the melanocytes and the melanins containing cell and regulate the pigment of the skin, and oxytocin act acts on the smooth muscles of our body and stimulate their contraction. Okay, in female it stimulate a vigorous contraction of uterus at the time of childbirth and milk ejection from the mammary gland. Vasopressin act mainly at the kidney and the stimulate resorption of the water and the electrocytes by the distal tubule and thereby the reduced loss of water through the urine. इसको डाइ इसको डायूरेसिस भी कहते हैं. ओके, hence it is also called anti diuretic hormones ADH. उसके pineal gland क्या होता है? Pineal gland is located on the dorsal side of the forebrain, and the pineal secrete hormones called the melatonin, and melatonin plays a very important role in the regulation of a 24 hours diurnal rhythm of our body. For example, help in the maintaining the normal rhythm of the sleep wake cycle of body temperature. In addition, melatonin also influence the metabolism, pigmentation, and the menstrual cycle as well as our defense capability. फिर हमारा थायराइड ग्लैंड क्या होता है? थायराइड ग्लैंड इज composed of two lobes which are located on either side of the trachea as shown in the figure. Both lobes are interconnected with thin flap of connective tissue called isthmus, and the thyroid glands is the composed of follicle and the stromal tissue. Each thyroid follicle is composed of follicle cell and enclosing a cavity. These follicular cells synthesize two hormones and the tetrodotoxin, thyroin, and thyxo, thyroxine or thyroxine and T4, and the thiothionin and T3. Iodine is essential for the normal rate of hormone synthesis and in the thyroid. Deficiency of iodine is our diet result in the hypo and the thyroidism and the enlargement of the thyroid gland and the commonly called goitre. Hypothyroidism and during the pregnancy cause detective defective and the development maturation of the growing baby and leading to the stunt growth, and the cretinism mental retardation low intelligence quotient abnormal skin deaf mutism and etc. In adult women, and hypothyroidism may cause menstrual cycle to become irregular due to the cancer of thyroid or due to the development of nodules of the thyroid gland. The rate of synthesis and the secretion of the thyroid hormones is increased to abnormal high level, and leading to the condition is called the hyperthyroidism, and which adversely affect the Physiology, psychology. Thyroid hormones play an important role in the regulation of the basal metabolic rate, and these hormones also support the process of red blood cell formation. Hormones control the metabolism of carbohydrate, proteins, and fats, maintenance of water and the electrolyte balance, and is also influenced by the thyroid hormones. Thyroid gland also secrete a protein hormones called thyro and the calcitonin and TCT, which regulate the blood calcium level. Parathyroid gland. In humans, four parathyroid glands are present on the back side of the thyroid gland, one pair each in the two lobes of the thyroid gland. The parathyroid gland secrete a peptide hormones called the parathyroid hormones, and the PTH, the secretion of PTH regulated by the circulating level of calcium ions. Parathyroid hormones PTH increase the Ca2 plus level in the blood, and the PTH act of bones on the bones and the stimulate the process of bone resorption and the dissolution and the demineralization. PTH also stimulate the reabsorption and of Ca2 plus by the renal tubules and increase the Ca2 plus absorption of from the digestive food. अब देखा जाए तो इट इज दस क्लियर, ये क्लियर होता है पीटीएच इज अ हाइपोकैल्सिमिक हार्मोन्स दैट इज इंक्रीज द ब्लड Ca2 plus level, okay, यानी calcium 2 plus level. Along with the TCT, it plays a significant role in the calcium balance in our body. Thymus क्या होता है? Thymus gland is a lobular structure and located between the lungs and behind the sternum and on the ventral side of aorta. The thymus plays a major role in the development of immune system, and this gland secretes the peptide hormones called the thymosin. And thymosin plays a major role in the differentiation of T lymphocyte, which provide cell mediate immunity. In addition, thymosin also promote the production of antibodies to provide humoral immunity. Thymus is generated in old individual, resulting in a decreased production of thymosin. As a result, the immune response of old person become weak. Adrenal gland. Our body has one pair of adrenal gland and one of the anterior pair of each kidney, and the gland is composed of two types of tissue. First has central located and tissue is located, बोलते हैं ना, the centrally located tissue is called adrenal medulla, and outside lie एड्रिनल कॉर्टेक्स इज एज इन फिगर, ओके। तो फिगर यहाँ पर नहीं देखा क्योंकि यहाँ नेट नहीं था, इस कारण से इसको आप सर्च कर सकते हो। एड्रिनल मेडुला सिक्रेट टू हार्मोन्स कॉल्ड एड्रिनलाइन एंड द इपाइनफ्राइन एंड नॉरेड, कहते नहीं है, नॉरेड ड्रिनालिन, ओके। क्या नाम है इसका? noradrenaline and norepinephrine. These are commonly called as catero cat catcol catecholamines. Okay, catecholamines. Adren- Adrenaline and noradrenaline are rapidly secreted in response to stress of any kind, and during the emergency situation are called emergency hormones or hormones of fight or flight. These hormones increase the alternate pupillary dilation and the pillow erection, raising of hair, sweating, etc. Both hormones increase the heart rate and the strength of heart contraction and the rate of respiration. The catecholamines and also stimulate the breakdown of the glycogen, resulting in an increase the construction of glucose in blood. In addition, they stimulate the breakdown of lipid and protein, and adrenal cortex can be divided into three layers called zona reticularis and inner layer, and zona fasciculata middle layer, and zona glomerulosa. क्या नाम है? ग्लोमरुलोसा, ग्लोमरुलोसा। इसको आउटर लेयर भी कहते हैं। एड्रिनल कॉर्टेक्स सिक्रेट्स मैनी हार्मोन्स एंड कॉमनली कॉल्ड corticoids, and corticoids which are involved in the carbohydrate metabolism are called glucocorticoid. In our body, cortisol is the main, and the glucocorticoid and the corticoid which regulate the balance of our the water and the electrolyte in our body are called mineralocorticoid. Okay, aldosterone is the main mineralocorticoid in our body. Glucocorticoids and stimulate and the gluconeogenesis and lipos, क्या लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे, हाँ, lipolysis and proteolysis, and inhibits the cellular uptake and the utilization of amino acid. Cortisol is also involved in the maintaining the cardiovascular system as well as the kidney function. Glucocorticoid and the partially cortisol, नहीं बोलते नहीं, cortisol and produce anti-inflammatory reason and suppresses and the human immune response. Cortisol stimulate the RBC production, and aldosterone acts mainly at the renal tubule and stimulate the reabsorption of and sodium plus यानी कि Na plus and the water and the excretion of K2 of K plus and potassium plus and phosphorus ions, and thus aldosterone and help in the maintenance of the electrolyte and the body fluid volume, osmotic pressure and the blood pressure. The small amount of adrenergic and steroid are also secreted by the adrenal cortex, which plays a role in the growth of axial hair, pubic hair, and the facial hair during the puberty. पेनक्रियाज क्या होता है? पेनक्रियाज इज अ composite of, बोलते नहीं, composite gland which act as both in exocrine and endocrine. The endocrine pancreas of consist isolates of Langerhans. There are 1 to 2 million isolate and the Langerhans in an normal humans, and pancreas representing only 1 to 2% of pancreatic tissue. The two many the two main types of cell in the islet of the Langerhans are called alpha cell and beta cell. Alpha cell secrete hormones called glucagon, and while beta cell secrete insulin. Glucagon is a peptide hormone and plays an important role in the maintaining the normal blood glucose level. Glucagon 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 and acts mainly on the liver cell hepatocytes, and they stimulate the glycogenolysis and resulting in an increased blood sugar hyperglycemia. And in addition, these hormones stimulate the process of gluconeogenesis, and which also contribute to the hyperglycemia. And the glycogen reduces the cellular glucose uptake and utilization, and this glucagon is a hyperglycemic hormone. Okay, insulin क्या है? Insulin is a peptide hormone which plays a major role in the regulation of glucose homeostasis. Insulin acts mainly on hepatocytes and adipocytes cell of adipose tissue, and enhance the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. As a result, there is a rapid movement of glucose from the blood to hepatocytes and the adipocytes, resulting in the decreased blood glucose level and the hypoglycemia. And insulin also stimulate the conversion of glucose to glycogen and the glycogenesis in the target cell. The glucose homeostasis in the blood thus maintained jointly the, by the two insulin and the glucagon. Prolonged and the hyperglycemia and lead to the cortex disorder and called diabetes and the mellitus, which is associated with the loss of glucose and through the urine and the formation of harmful compound known as ketone bodies. Diabetes patient and diabetes patients are the successful treated by the insulin therapy. Okay, द टेस्टिस क्या होता है? द पेयर ऑफ टेस्टिस इज प्रेजेंट इन द स्क्रोटल sac outer side outside the abdomen of male individual, and testis forms dual function as primary sex organ as well as an endocrine gland. Testis is composed of seminiferous tubule and the stromal or the intestinal tissue, and the Leydig cell of or the intestinal cell, which are present in intertubule space, produce a group of hormones called adrenogen. Mainly testosterone and androgen regulate the development and the maturation and the function of the male accessory sex organ like epidermis, vas deferens, seminivascles, and the prostate gland and the urethra, etc. These hormones stimulate the muscular growth and the growth of facial and the axial hair and the aggressive and low pitch of voice, etc. And androgen plays a androgen plays a major and stimulatory role in the process of spermatogenesis. Formation of the spermatozoa and the androgen act on a central neural and influence in the male sexual behavior and the libido. These hormones produces anabolic and synthetic effects on the protein and carbohydrate metabolism. Ovary क्या होता है? The female have a pair of ovary located in the abdomen, and ovary is the primary female sex organ which produces ovum during the each menstrual cycle. In addition, ovary produces two groups of steroid hormones called estrogen and the progesterone. Ovary is the composed of ovarian follicles and the stromal tissue. Estrogen is synthesized and secreted mainly by the growing ovarian follicle. After ovulation, the rupture follicle is converted to structure called corpus and luteum, which secrete mainly progesterone and estrogen and produces wide-ranging actions such as stimulation of growth and activity of female secondary sex organ, development of growing and the ovarian follicle, and appearance of female and secondary sex character. Example: high pitch of voice and memory gland development. Estrogen also regulate the female sex behavior, and the progesterone support of pregnancy. Progesterone also act on the mammary gland and stimulate the formation of alveoli, sac-like structure which store milk and the milk secretion. Hormones of heart, kidney, and the बोलते हैं gastrointestinal tract. Hormones are also secreted by the some tissue which are which are not endocrine, and for example, atrial wall of our heart secrete a very important peptide hormone called atrial and the natriuretic factor ANF, which decreases blood pressure, and when the blood pressure increases, ANF is secreted, which causes dilation of the blood vessel, and this reduces the blood pressure. अब है जुक्स्टा ग्लोमेरुलर, क्या नाम है? जुक्स्टा ग्लोमेरुलर, okay, of cell of kidney, and produces peptide hormone cell called erythropoietin, and which stimulate the erythropoiesis and formation of RBC. Endocrine cell present in the different part of gastrointestinal tract and secrete four major peptide hormones, and namely gastrin, secretin, and the cholecystokinin, okay, and CCK, and the gastric inhibitory peptide GIP. Gastrin act on the gastric gland and stimulate the secretion of hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen. Secret act on the exine pancreas, stimulate the secretion of water and bicarbonate ions. CCK act on the both pancreas and the gallbladder and stimulate the secretion of pancreatic enzymes and bile juice respectively. GIP inhibits gastric secretion and motility. Several other non-endocrine tissue secrete hormones called growth factors, and these factors are essential for the normal growth of the tissue and their repairing and regeneration. Okay, उसके बाद क्या है हमारा हमारा है mechanism of hormone action. Hormone produces their effect on the target tissue by the binding and to specific proteins called hormone receptor located in the target tissue only. Okay, hormone receptor present on the cell membrane of the target cell are called membrane bound receptor, and the receptor present inside the target cell called intracellular receptor, mostly nuclear receptor present in the nucleus. Binding of hormones its receptor lead to the formation of a hormones receptor complex as shown in the figure below. Each receptor is specific to one hormone only, and the hence receptor are specific hormone receptor complex formation leads to the certain biochemical changes in the target tissue. The target tissue metabolism and hence physiological function are regulated by the hormones. On the basis of chemical nature, hormones can be divided into groups. Peptide, first a peptide, polypeptide protein hormones, example insulin and the glucagon and pituitary hormone and the hypothalamin hormones etc. Steroid क्या होता है? Example cortisol and the testosterone and the estradiol and the progesterone. उसके बाद चौथा है हमारा आयोडोथायरोनेसिस. क्या है? आयोडो थायरोनिस थायरोनाइंस, हाँ, आयोडोथायरोनाइंस एंड द थायराइड हार्मोन्स. अमाइनो एसिड डेरिवेटिव्स, मतलब डेरिवेटिव्स, एग्जांपल इपाइनफ्राइंस. Hormones which interact with the membrane-bound receptor normal do not enter the target cell but generate the secondary messenger, example cyclin, AMP, IP3 and Ca double plus etc., which is turned to regulate cellular metabolism. And hormones which interact with intercellular receptor, example steroid hormones, iodothyronines, etc., mostly regulate the genes of expression or chromosome function by the interaction of hormones receptor complex the genome. उसके बाद है हमारा cumulative biochemical actions result in the physiological and development effect. इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन इसमें बनता है, तो इसको आप ट्राई कर लिया. डिफाइन द फॉलोइंग एक्सोक्राइन इंडोक्राइन हार्मोन्स, डायग्रामेटिक इंडेक्स द लोकेशन ऑफ वेरियस इंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड्स इन आवर बॉडी, ब्रीफली द मेंशन ऑफ मैकेनिज्म ऑफ एक्शन ऑफ एफएसएच एंड द प्लेयर शॉर्ट नोट ऑन write a short note on the function of the following hormones: parathyroid glands and the thyroid and the thymosin and androgen and estrogen and the insulin and glycogen. इस क्वेश्चन को आप लोग सॉल्व कर ले, ये काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट रहेगा. So guys, thanks for watching video till the end. You are a part of journey of needs. So like, share and subscribe as you can. जितना हो सके like से subscribe करें और see you in next video. And also don't forget you are a part of journey of needs. So इस वीडियो को जल्दी जल्दी शेयर करें ताकि आपके अलावा बाकी लोग भी इस चीज़ का आनंद ले सके. So bye, see you next video.